Hi HiFi, so to start off today's task we've got fluency and this consists of our number of the week. So as usual you've got 30 seconds to complete it and then the answers will appear on the screen, or you've got the option to pause it and work your way through them and then go through the answers next. So if you're doing it timed, then your time starts now. So today we're carrying on with decimals, but we're thinking about rounding decimals. So rounding to the nearest whole number, to the nearest one decimal point, the nearest two decimal points. Now to help us, that work that we did a few days ago, last week, about decimals on a number line, that's really going to help us today. So we're going to start off by thinking about rounding decimals to the nearest whole number. So if we had 7.9, so I've got 7 wholes and then 9/10, I want to know what is the nearest whole number that lies between. So for this, I want us to draw a number line. At the bottom of your number line, we need to think so we want the two whole numbers that this lies between. So the first one is always going to be the first whole number that's in your number. And then just think about what's the next whole number on the number line. So that would be 8. Okay? So now I want to know, where would 7.9 be on my number line? Is it closest to 7 or is it closest to 8? That's what rounding is. So let's think, halfway between 7 and 8 is 7.5. 7 wholes and 5/10, because we know that there's 10/10 in between here. So 7.9 is only 1/10 away from 8. So if I was to round this to one decimal point, we can give a squiggly equals, which is almost like an estimation sign. It's roughly to the nearest whole number, 8. Okay, so my next number is 1.4. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I want to know what is the nearest whole number. I'm rounding to the nearest whole number. So I'll start off with my number line. I think about what two whole numbers this lies between. I know it's always going to start with this number, so it's between 1, and then the next number on my number line, next whole number, is 2. So halfway between, I think it helps to think about, halfway between 1 and 2, we're thinking about, so the first decimal place, so the first 10th. So in tenths, halfway between is 1.5. So 1.4 is going to be somewhere here. So I know that actually on my number line, 1.4 is closer to 1 than it is to 2. So rounding to one decimal place or to the nearest tenth, it's the same thing, is 1.4. Okay, your turn to do exactly the same. Your decimals are 4.6 and 9.2. Just like I've just done, I want you to round them to the nearest whole number. So I want to see you drawing a number line. What two whole numbers does it lie between? Which one is it closest to? And then we'll go through the answers. Okay, so hopefully you drew your number line. For the first one, the two whole numbers that it lies between are 4 and 5. Halfway between is 4.5, and we know that 6/10 is after that, just after, so it's closer to 5. And the next one, 9.2. So again, on our number line, the two whole numbers it lies between are 9 and 10. Halfway between is 9 wholes and 5/10. We've only got 2/10, which is just after 9, so the nearest whole number is 9. Okay, well done if you've got those. I just wanted to show you one more example rounding to the nearest whole number. So my decimal is 6.42. Now you'll notice that I've got 2 decimal points in this number. I've got up to hundredths. But it's still the same process when we round to the nearest whole number. So my whole numbers it lies between are 6 and 7. Halfway between is 6.5. I've got 6.4, but actually it's 6.42. it's just after 6.4, okay, it's 2 hundredths after. So even though I've got hundredths, it's still the exact same process when we're rounding to the nearest whole number, so this would be 6, okay, so don't get thrown by that. Okay, time to pause again, and I want you to have a go at some of those trickier ones. So we're still rounding to the nearest whole number, but you've got 9.54 and 11.82. So remember to draw your number line and show me which whole number it's closest to. Okay, so same as before, we're going to draw our number line. Two whole numbers it lies between are 9 and 10. Halfway between is 9.5, and then 9.54 is just 4 hundredths after that, so literally just after. But still, it's closer to the whole number of 10. Next one, so the whole numbers that it lies between are 11 and 12. Halfway between is 11.5. Now 11.8 is quite far along our number line, and then 11.82. So the nearest whole number is 12. We needed to round up for both of those. Okay, now we're going to get a little bit trickier, because now we're rounding to 1 decimal point. You might see it written like this, 1 dp, 1 decimal point, or another way of saying it is rounding to the nearest tenth. Okay, so our number is 6.42. So the same as before, we start on our number line, but this time we're not looking at the whole numbers. I want to know what tenths it lies between. So over here I've got 6 point, and then this is my tenths column, so 6.4. Now what's the next tenth on the number line? So 1 up from this, so it would be 6.5. So 4 tenths and then 5 tenths. Halfway between, so now we're counting in our hundredths, is 6.4, 4 tenths and 5 hundredths, because there's 10 hundredths between here and here. So now I can think about, well, 6.42. So here's 6.4, it's less than 6.45, 6.42 will be somewhere here. So if this is 6.42, if I'm rounding to 1 decimal place, I can see that that is closer to 6.4 than it is to 6.5. So to 1 decimal place, we would say this is rounded to 6.4. So let's do another one of these together. 9.65 to the nearest tenth, or to 1 decimal point. So on my number line, it lies between 9 point, I'm rounding to 1 decimal point, so 9.6. Next on my number line is 9.7. Let's think about what's halfway in between. So we've gone to tenths, so in between are hundredths. So 9.6 and then 5 hundredths, okay? Well, that is actually our number. So that's exactly where our number lies on a number line. Now, some of you might remember a rhyme when you're thinking about rounding numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, you round to the number before. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you go to the next one on the number line. So that should hopefully tell you this is 5, so we have to round up to the next one on the number line, and we can see that that is 9.7. So to 1 decimal place, we have to round up to 9.7. Okay, your turn to pause the video and have a go at rounding these decimals to the nearest tenth, or to 1 decimal point. So you've got 10.15, 5.82 and 12.465. So I'm throwing this one in as a bit of a curveball. So remember to draw your number lines and show me which tenth it is closest to. Okay, let's go through these. So the first one, on your number line, we lie between 10.1, that's our tenth, and then 10.2 tenths. Halfway is 10.15, which is actually our number. So remember the 5 tells us we're closer to 10.2. Next one, we lie between 5.8 and 5.9. 5.82 is quite close to 5.8. It's only 2 hundredths away. It's before the 5.85. So to the 1 decimal point, it's 5.8. And the last one, I tried to throw you off. It's between 12.4 and 12.5. Halfway between is 12.45, and even though it's got thousandths in, it doesn't matter. We can still see that on our number line we have to round up because of the 5 hundredths. The 6 hundredths, which is after the 5 hundredths, so we round to 12.5. Okay, that's it from me today. Well done if you followed along. Your task is on Mymaths, and you're going to be asked to round to the nearest whole number or to one decimal place. I would really recommend drawing out your number lines to help you and then put in your answer on Mymaths. Okay, I will see you tomorrow, and today's challenge is coming up.